Imagine this. It's Labor Day at the county fair, and your only worry is whether you should get your funnel cake and corn dog before or after the Ferris wheel. Friends and family surround you as you take in the sights of blurring, blinking lights, smells of fried food galore, and calls of laughter and screams, barely realizing when the squeals of delight turn into those of horror until it's too late. Tonight's story is a church event gone horribly, horribly wrong. Final Destination must have gotten some ideas from this one.
So today our hint was ping pong, and I found a cocktail of the same name.
I've been holding off on taking a sip this entire time, so.
It's not that great.
No, I mean, it's okay. It's pretty much straight gin with lemon juice and grenadine.
I like it.
It's
very refreshing.
Yeah, it's Nipatati gin with lemon juice and grenadine, and it's not the worst thing I've ever had. It's not bad. It's just not exciting.
I really like it. I mean, maybe it's just Nipatati goes great with anything. I don't know. It's good.
We all know how dangerous Nipatati can be because there's literally no bite to this.
Yeah, to me it tastes more like juice, even though you said you put a lot of gin in it. I don't taste a lot.
I did. I put a lot of gin, so
it's delightful. Nice Sunday morning cocktail.
I want to really quick give a shout out to Janie.
Yo,
she
Janie.
left us a good comment. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we're not on social media anymore. We watched that Netflix documentary about how it's eating your kids' brains.
And mine.
Like an amoeba.
So we got off social media altogether. A lot of people are wondering how to contact us, and the best way to do that is through the blog. On any post, just leave me a comment, and I'll shout you out if it's good, and you can request stories. The story we're doing tonight is actually requested from someone that just left a comment on one of the posts the other day. And I thought it was a great story, so I really wanted to do it. Anyway, I want to give a shout out to Janie, Jayne. She says, I'm so glad you're doing Ghoul, the Ghoul podcast.
Nice.
Yes, so I still am working on episodes 3 and 4. And not only that, be sure to subscribe to that because I decided I'm going to do seasons. So next season, around October, Halloween, there's going to be a new killer that I do, and go through kind of like, he's got to be as ghoulish. Anyway, she says, I'm so glad you are doing Ghoul. I am from and still living in Wisconsin, Milwaukee area. When growing up, we went to summer camp at Spencer Lake in Waupaca, Wisconsin. This is about 30 miles from Plainfield. The, quote, ghost stories turned into Ed Gein stories, and we were scared to death. My friends and I wouldn't ride the horses anymore because we were afraid the horses would get off their course and take us right to Ed's house.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. Awesome podcasting. Love, Janie. P.S.
Awesome.
P.S. John is my favorite. That's what she said.
I believe it. Everyone says that.
So we are recording this episode on video. I'm going to start doing this so I can get more comfortable with the camera. So go to youtube.com. That's youtube.com, be.com, and type in Talk
Close.
Murder to Me, and you'll see the video for tonight's episode.
Sweet. So, here we go, guys. Surprise shots. Surprise shots. We don't know what they are because they're a surprise. Why? That was slower today. Did you feel that?
I felt it. John's was also much slower.
I don't know what that was. Maybe because my arms were farther away. But cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Ooh, is this rum chata?
You better bring that bottle out.
Yeah, this is delicious.
It's got caffeine in it?
That was all it was. I just bought the
Oh,
little,
shit,
little
really?
things.
Ah, damn it.
What is it?
It was pumpkin spice liqueur.
That was amazing.
I very much would like that.
Next time I get a coupon, I'll buy a bottle.
Coupon?
You better hurry up and get a coupon because, pumpkin spice season's almost over and you need to buy enough to last us the whole year of that.
The hint that I gave y'all was ping pong, ding-a-ding dong. So where are we going and who are we ping ponging tonight?
China. We're going to China. And I think this story is, and I have to. Every time I hear the word China, I think of what's his name?
President Trump?
No, Ryan Gosling from The Big Short. He's from China. Love it. You haven't seen that movie, have you?
I have not. I've seen parts of it.
Big Trouble in Little China?
No.
Oh.
The Big Short. Okay, so I think we're going to China in like 1987, and there is a ping pong champion who goes crazy and starts murdering people.
You know, I was also thinking China, but I think only because of its reference in Forrest Gump to the ping pong. You know, when Forrest Gump plays ping pong. But, you know, Forrest Gump, sadly, is, you know, a fictional story. You know, even though it's a great redemption story about how someone can get knocked around and you know, down when they're young, and then they just become this awesome person, you know.
And also, everything is about perception. Like, he has such an interesting perception of the world, you know, and how he sees things that happen.
He is amazing. He's my hero. So,
so the story is about Forrest Gump?
Yeah. It's just about Forrest Gump. That's all. I can't think of anything else, and you know, that's all I have to say about that.
All right, so tonight's story is for you, Aaron. You just left me a comment and you requested this. John, I can't become a taco because it says it's not available, and we're sorry about that. We are eventually in 2021 maybe launching it back. I'm not sure.
We'll see.
But I don't know. But I have a crazy story for you that nobody else has done before ever. And I'm not going to read what she said because it's going to give away the story. But Aaron, this is for you. And thank you for your comment.
Well, is the place where Erin is from going to give it away?
No.
Did she say where she's from?
You will 100% not know this story. This is not, it's not really a true crime story, but I can't really tell you anymore. Let's just get started. So we're going to Pennsylvania in 1978. This is where we're going right here. If you want to describe this for our audience.
Oh, it looks like it's a school that had a fair.
Mm-hmm.
It almost reminds me of the set of Grease at the end with the senior fair, and they have like the different booths.
Yeah, there's like some pop-up tents and flags. It looks like it's in a parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's actually a church.
Oh,
and
okay,
it's still there. I know it doesn't really look like a church because it doesn't have a steeple.
Right.
But that is a church. That's the St. Joseph Roman Catholic Church.
Oh, maybe they had like. Did they have a school attached to it? Because sometimes churches do that.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
Catholic churches,
maybe.
Especially they have the parish school where they have like, you know, it's reminiscent of my school, actually.
So if you're new here, this is your first episode, go to talkmurder.com. That's where I'm putting all these photos at talkmurder.com, and you can see them there. Follow along with us. If you're not driving, even if you're watching YouTube, just open your tab and you can see them. All right, so this church is the St. Joseph Roman Catholic Church, although it may be the St. Martin Church now. I tried to find it. I think they may have changed the name. I don't know. Anyway, this is Labor Day 1978. This is a 3-day event, and 8 people end up dying at this church.
Ooh.
So you want to guess what that has to do with ping pong balls?
You didn't say balls before.
Oh, I didn't?
No.
Oh. What else you gonna do? With ping pong?
Bingo hall.
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, let me show you the killer right now. Can you describe this killer? His name is Hughes.
I'm confused. You said it doesn't really have anything to do with true. Oh.
There's the killer. It's a Hughes 269C helicopter. Can you describe this?
That is a Weedle helicopter. That like you can is there room for 2 people in that, or is it just one person?
There was 3 people in this.
Wow. Oh, how? Oh,
exactly.
I guess I mean,
that is a tight fit. They must be 3 very petite people.
Yeah, it is 3 right there. I believe this is the actual model. This is a Hughes 269C.
It looks like a little toy. It's like mostly, you know, plexiglass or whatever.
Are these the types of helicopters that you would like they have the helicopter tours and you like go and see sights and stuff, like, you know how
If that is the case, I would not go in one of those. This teeny.
Yeah, but this is a helicopter you can buy. These are like $200,000, $300,000. I mean, people buy these.
This is the type where like
my dad would buy this.
You can't
My dad probably would too, actually.
you can't shave off 10 pounds on your weight. Like, you actually have to be accurate in order for that to fly properly. I feel like I can't be like, ooh, yeah, I weigh 120.
I feel
no,
like
I'd have to be accurate in what I say.
I feel like I've been in one of those like at some sort of festival when they were doing helicopter rides.
Oh.
It was at the Cranberry Festival in Wareham. And we like got to fly above the cranberry bogs, and they gave us a tour and stuff. It was really cool. That was the only time I've ever been in a helicopter, which is surprising considering my dad was a helicopter pilot.
I've never been in a helicopter.
So I've been in a lot, and this is the reason I'm doing this story for you, Aaron's, because I don't know if you knew this, but my family and Jen's dad is aviation. I mean, my whole family is aviation, and I was aviation for a long time. I was a crew chief, and my brother used to be a crew chief for my dad's helicopter, which was a Chinook, which is the big old school buses. Plus, I've been in plenty of helicopters overseas, which I hated overseas because, you know, I've never personally had a rocket shot at me, but when you're flying in a helicopter overseas, that's what you're thinking about. You know, you're looking at the mountains and you're just like, oh my God, if a RPG comes, we're all toast, you know. Anyway, so I don't really like heights whatsoever. That's kind of why I got out of aviation and went more of the infantry route, I guess. But anyway, this is Labor Day 1978. This is a full weekend, 3 days. 500 people are in this parking lot, that one that you guys saw earlier. And this is 2:50 p.m. Do you guys want to take a guess about what happened?
A helicopter crash at the festival.
All right.
Into a booth.
Nicole, can you read this? This is from Pam Nelson. This is the pilot.
I departed Allegheny County about 1:30 p.m., arriving at Latrobe 2 p.m. I left with full fuel, 30 gallons, having about 25 gallons left upon arriving in Latrobe. Mr. Allison from the church was at Latrobe. His daughter was there also, wanting to go along. We were able to hover in the green range, manifold pressure, and rotor RPM.
All right. So here's what's going on. Pam Nelson, the pilot, she's 33 years old. She's flying this helicopter with Leo Allison, which is the janitor of the church and the organizer of this event. This is a big Labor Day event. They're doing God stuff, whatever you guys do.
Doing God stuff.
You know, whatever you guys do. His 15-year-old daughter, Mary Beth, was also in the helicopter, which, keep in mind, and if you saw the photo on talkmore.com, it's a very small helicopter. This isn't a big Black Hawk or anything else. So weight matters a lot.
That's
with
what I was
these
saying. You can't shave off, the 10 pounds
Yeah.
difference that you wish you were.
Like on your driver's license.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't know anything about
Well,
that.
no.
Because, my driver's license is totally accurate.
Totally.
So-
Mine is also.
So, I mean, if you're kind of fatter or thinner, that really doesn't matter. But the more people you pack in there and the more equipment and stuff like that, it starts to matter.
But you have to calculate that weight when
Yeah,
you're
you do, yeah.
going in there.
There were 3 people in the helicopter. The pilot comes 1,800 feet from the west. She's 400 feet above the crowd. She says that Leo, the organizer, wants her to get a little lower, but she refuses. The airspeed is about 35 miles per hour. Now,
So not fast.
yeah, so this isn't your typical true crime story, but a lot of people die. What they were doing at this church is ping pong ball drops. Now, if you ever have a chance to go do this, just take my advice and don't go do this, because this is the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen.
Wait, are they dropping ping pong balls
Yeah.
from the helicopter?
So, yeah. So what
to try to get it in like a certain thing?
No. Every ping pong ball that's dropped is worth $1. So the crowd gathers under and they try to pick up the balls. And every ball they can get is worth $1. Now, here's a video from a 2014 one. This one didn't,
This one didn't crash and
this
burn.
one didn't crash or whatever, but this is the same principle. You see how they're dropping it?
No, I don't see
Oh, wait,
anything
hold on a
falling.
second. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah, You see? And you see the crowd below? Yeah. So that's, you see all those people just packed up right there?
Oh, so whoever gets the most gets the most money?
And there's like kids running. So,
I feel like that would hurt from that.
To get pegged in the head
Yeah,
with
right?
a long ball.
oh, yeah. So if you want to read this, this is from one of the many newspapers I found in Pennsylvania about this.
I did not comply, as it were about 400 feet up, and that was as close as I wanted to come. Airspeed was about 35 miles per hour. As I began to accelerate to circle around, I added a little throttle. We began to descend. I had to add a little right pedal. I then raised the collective but got no response and lost a little more altitude. RPM was dropping to a range of about 2,700. I think manifold pressure was below 20 inches. I immediately lowered the collective and added more throttle. The engine seemed to quit altogether. We swerved to the left and started dropping rapidly. I pushed the pedal down more and was able to turn right to avoid hitting the school building.
All right. So do you guys know what the collective is? What she said, the collective there?
Nope.
You guys want to take a guess? Do you know, Jen?
No.
All right. Since I used to be in aviation, I can tell you kind of what this is. So the cyclic stick is like a joystick. So if you're looking at the photo right there, that's the thing that's going to make it go forward. If you push down on it, it tilts down and it goes forward. You can go backwards and go side to side. The collective, if I can remember correctly, is like the throttle. That's what raises the thing up and pushes it down. So if you want to go down, you press down on the collective. If you want to go up, you pull up on it, right? It's kind of like an emergency brake in your car. It's what it looks like. It doesn't have the same function, but you guys understand.
Yep.
That's what she's talking about there. You saw the video of the ping pong ball drop. You saw about how high the helicopter was above the crowd.
And it's a crowd below.
Yeah,
like, it's not like...
it was just like that. There's 500 people in this crowd. 500. I mean, this is a kids' function, too. There are kids here. Anyway, this is what happens if you want to read this headline for us.
Copter falls into crowd, 7 killed.
So that is the actual helicopter right there.
Oof.
And you can kind of see, I mean, it's black and white. You can't really see any violence. 19 people were injured. No one inside the helicopter were killed.
Wow.
But this is unfortunate. Remember Leo, the janitor, the organizer, and his daughter?
Yes.
Well, his wife was in the crowd and she got killed.
Oof.
And Mary Beth's mother, real mother, was also in the crowd and she got killed. So, I mean, not only did you organize this whole event, and not only did it kill 7 people, but your wife is also one of those people. Oh my God. I mean, I can't imagine what this guy is probably still living through. And this was 78. He's probably still alive, I'd imagine. Unless he was like really old. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the guilt should be overbearing, I mean, even though it's not his fault, obviously.
No, I didn't anticipate. Now, was this pilot an experienced pilot?
We're going to get to that here in a second.
Oh, okay.
Here's another photo of the crash.
Ooh.
Now you can kind of see some blood everywhere. You see kind of up at the top there?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that the helicopter is still quite intact, like the capsule,
Yeah, so it basically...
But I guess it wasn't it didn't totally drop, you know what I mean? If it dropped at
the engine didn't cease in midair or anything.
If it took a faster fall, it may have had more damage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You see the tent. Do you remember those tents from the first photo that I showed you? So those are the tents. It basically careened into all of them tents.
Jeez.
And you can't really see too much of the violence and blood, but we're about to go into how violent this is, because this is a very violent death, a helicopter. Now, the helicopter didn't kill the people. It was the blades. You guys understand that?
That's what I was just going to say.
So how fast do you think those blades were going when they went through these people? Because these people weren't crushed. They were sawed in half.
Decapitated, yeah.
Well, the airspeed was 35 miles per hour, right? So, I mean,
I think they said the RPMs in the thing.
Well, I
right?
mean, yeah,
2,700.
you can't really
I mean, it's
calculate it. I
fast.
can't calculate
It's
it either.
fast.
I was seeing if you guys could
It
guess.
gonna be real fast.
The blades were going 400 miles an hour.
It's like a samurai sword.
A samurai sword, and they're metal. And you know, for you guys that are interested, my dad flies Chinooks, and next time you see a Chinook, it looks like a big school bus.
Is that the one with the two blades?
Yeah, so there's two rotors, and
That's
the
very
blades
dangerous,
go
isn't
in between each other.
That's why. Why design something like that?
But it's not. They work simultaneously, so there's no way they're going to hit each other
unless something flies into a blade, like a bird gets caught into one.
What happens?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I remember talking with somebody who was an Air Force jet pilot, and they're like, I mean, really, why does the Navy need to fly off carriers nowadays? Like, you know, they don't really need to.
Yeah, we
can
do.
just fly, you know.
Why do we not need to?
Fly off, you know, there's plenty of land.
Yeah, but if you're in the coast of Japan and Japan wants to kill us, they're not going to let you land at their airfield.
True, but I'm just saying for most situations.
Yeah, you're right.
That was an Air Force pilot's perspective against a Navy pilot's perspective. So they don't have to learn how to fly off and on carriers.
I remember though when I know how important it is to be close to the proximity of the enemy because when I was overseas, like we counted the seconds that it would take for an Apache to provide support for us. And those seconds felt like hours.
I bet.
It was like 7 minutes and 53 seconds, I believe, it takes for an Apache to get to where we were. And those seconds literally feel like lifetimes. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I do understand how like the proximity to the enemy is really important. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a pilot, so.
Well, I think more, maybe the comment is more like in peacetime.
Yeah, in peacetime. Well,
does it really matter?
It's the same thing with the airborne infantry. You know, why do we still jump out of airplanes? Are we gonna do that ever again? No, there's no use for it. We're not gonna throw a bunch of soldiers out into Russia like that. You know, that was like more of a D-Day, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Second World War type of thing. But we still are airborne. I don't know.
We prep
Well,
for
now
it.
there's also drones that we didn't have back then too.
That's true.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Very true. It certainly remember having a conversation about the use of drones and like warfare ethics.
Yeah.
And it like what was how did my professor describe it? Like that the rules of warfare get blurred when you use drones because you can use a drone to kill lives, but you know that no life would be lost with like the pilot. You know, they're the pilot sitting in a friggin' bunker in Kansas.
Almost like an unfair fight.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I
And
guess
and the drone pilots are video game experts.
I mean, you want to talk about unfair fight? How about dropping a nuke on like 200,000 Japanese people?
I mean,
I still don't know what to think about that. I don't know.
It's a mix. It's a damned if you did, damned if you didn't.
I mean, I can imagine being one. Truman had to push that button, or not the button, but make that decision. Anyway,
and he did too.
Yeah, he did too. Back to back.
That's I think the big question is like, could he have just done one?
Well, they were saying that Japanese weren't going to quit. And if you look back at their culture, they're not quitters.
That's true.
The
kamikaze pilots,
exactly.
all that stuff.
So, but I mean, it's Japan, right? Well, what are they going to take over America? Like for real?
That's what they thought.
At the same time, I mean, now they're one of our allies, and so we have a different perspective. But back then, it was a different time.
Which I don't even know why they joined the war effort anyway, unless they were just convinced by Hitler. I still haven't figured that out because that's just the weirdest thing ever. Anyway, let's move on. For you guys on YouTube, I'm sorry, I got
They also
digressed.
remember we watched that documentary. It was something about they also believed that they were like the chosen people.
Yeah.
It had a similar mindset, and their main goal
which
was
is total
to
bullshit because
America.
Americans are obviously the chosen people. Anyway, 19 people injured. No one in the helicopter was killed. The father. I already went over that. All right, moving on. If you want to read this is some of the eyewitness testimony, and you can kind of see the violence here.
Eyewitnesses described a scene of blood and severed bodies after the craft and its whirling blade fell to the ground. There were bodies everywhere. One of them was just half a man, said Chuck Keast, 28, a visitor from Kenneat, Ohio. There was blood all over the parking lot, said Bill Costanzo, managing editor of the Latrobe Bulletin.
That was from the Morning Call paper in Pennsylvania from the same day. It was September 5th that you read there. Now, I do want to say, because I know you guys are going to ask, what was the youngest?
I mean, I wasn't going to ask.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I didn't really want to look that up, but I did. The youngest was 14, and then it was like a 15-year-old. But then, besides that, those were the only two teenagers I saw, and then it was like 34, 54, you know.
I mean, regardless of age, that's just a terrible way to die.
Yeah, but I mean, Jesus, I was so happy when I saw there was no 2-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, oh
Agreed.
yeah, it's terrible because the helicopter didn't just crash. So what happens with these, as we'll show you in a second, is
What are you going to show us?
well, you'll see.
I don't know if I want to see it.
The blades tip over, and they're still going 400 miles an
and
hour.
they're still rotating.
So it's like putting your finger in the garbage disposal type of thing.
Or like this ceiling fan.
Yeah, I mean that ceiling fan would fuck you up. I don't think kill you.
It
No.
wouldn't cut your hand off.
No, it has, doesn't it like have a stop mechanism?
Yeah.
Yeah, your freaking hand or your head is the stop
but
mechanism.
if you were to put your hand up there, it'll stop. And
Well,
won't
yeah,
keep
because it
rotating.
hit you. You can't go past your hand.
Like
The motor is not strong enough to keep going beyond your hand. We used to do this when we were
what are you?
kids. It's
You used to
probably
put your hand in the
No.
freaking blades.
Yeah, like so when you want to turn the fan off, you turn it off, and then if you want it to stop, you just put your hand up and stop
oh
the
my
blade.
god, dude!
It's probably, I don't know. Maybe that's like not a children's game most kids play.
No, I know what you're talking about, but like still to this day, like I forget where my ceiling fan is in relation to the rest of my room.
Yours
and
is really low.
It is.
In your room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And I was worried that because you're tall.
Yeah, and there have been times where I'm like getting dressed and I'm like putting my shirt on over my head and I just I hit my arm in the ceiling fan and I'm like, oh my god.
Okay, you need to ask for a ceiling fan for Christmas.
I have
No, I mean it's just the roof of her or the ceiling's too low. Like
yeah, but is the is the
hers
ceiling
is a
fan
flat ceiling fan.
flush?
It's like this one almost.
It's no, I think it might be. It's not like this. I think it goes down a little bit.
I don't know. I saw it and I was like, wow, this is really low.
Yeah.
There were people lying all over, some of their heads cut off and arms off, said Helen Irwin, who saw the crash from outside the family tavern a half block away.
I forgot to take into consideration not the people that were killed, but also like
Just people walking down the street, seeing it.
well, not just
Think
that,
about all
but
the kids,
yeah,
man.
the kids must be traumatized, but like not necessarily the people that were cut in half, but like losing their limbs. Like, what if did people survive that were sliced
Yeah.
off, lose any limbs?
Well,
That's a
here-
good point.
Yeah, there was. But here's the thing that really shocks you and what I want to try to get through to you guys. There were 500 people there. If you get your arm or your head severed or your torso severed in half,
You're dead.
your blood is going everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So those 500 people, I'd imagine about 350 of them have blood all over them. I mean, it's a massacre. Okay. I mean, I'm not laughing,
It's
but
a scene
I mean,
from
it's
Kill
like,
Bill.
dude, it's like
Literally. Could
everywhere.
you imagine how lucky you were if you're like, Mom, I have to go to the bathroom. Can we please go to the bathroom
Oh,
now? And she was
yeah.
like, not now, Jimmy. And it's like, no, I really need to go. And it's like, oh, thank God, Jimmy, that you needed to go to the bathroom.
Saved her life, Jimmy.
Yeah,
You
good
and
job.
your
Just-
overactive bladder.
Dude, this ping pong idea is
I would imagine
fucking
that
awful,
a lot
man.
of not many people would do that after this incident, right?
Oh, hell no. All these people got PTSD.
No. I mean, I'm assuming
Like,
that the
in
ball
this-
dropping thing is not a common practice anymore.
Yes, it is. We just watched a video from 2014.
I've never heard of it before this.
I just imagine if any of this
terrible
happened
idea.
in this area, like I feel as if someone from far away moved in and was like, oh, I have a great idea for a fundraiser. What about a ping pong ball drop? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
No, absolutely
We don't do
not.
that
We
here.
don't- yeah, that is not
They
a...
probably don't do that in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no way they
There's
do
like
that.
a city ordinance.
Yes,
and
there's
there's
Yeah.
no more ping pong
Yeah.
ball drops.
Jesus. Anyway, go ahead and read this.
I already did.
Oh. It ends by saying one man, his body was cut in half.
Pauline Grigdon, a native of Derry and now a resident of New Alexandria, said, I saw a flash of light and I thought the helicopter hit one of the wires. My kids were out there and I panicked. I saw all these bodies, all the blood on the ground.
Ugh, I can't even imagine.
So when I was flying helicopters, riding in helicopter, I was a crew chief, so I would do that. One of the things you got to watch out for are wires, especially with a small helicopter like that. I remember this one time, and I wasn't there, but 2 of our pilots, they were doing one of these shows for school, and he had hit the wire of the power line, and it caused a fire because, the power line falls,
Right.
and it just lights the whole grass on fire. Everyone's like running because it was like real quick, and the whole place is on fire.
Oh, God. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
I get why you don't fly. I
Yeah.
get it. You've seen some things with that. It was a mess. It was a terrible sight to see. Costanzo said the helicopter went through one of 24 concession stands set up for the festival. One eyewitness said there were bodies flying all over the place, Costanzo said. A couple of bodies I saw had to be kids.
Can you imagine, like, you're there and you didn't get killed? Well, the great thing about this, I just want to say, the great thing about dying by a helicopter is you don't know it. It's
fast as
there,
fuck.
dude. You're dead. You're here 1 millisecond, and then you don't feel it.
I mean, unless your arms cut off and you're just spurting blood.
Yeah,
and you
which
die a slow and
we'll
painful death.
see
It's a flesh
here in a
wound.
second. We'll see that here in a second. But I'm saying, like, it's real quick. I remember when I was working on these things, we have a tail rotor on the ones that I worked in.
Yep.
And you can't see it because these blades are spinning so fast,
Yep.
you can't see it. And a lot of guys, I've never forget, and they'll walk into it. Just walk into it.
Yikes.
That always scared the hell out of me, man. Scared the hell out of me. They'll get confused about which side of the helicopter they're on, and then they'll just like walk, turn around, and the blade will just slice them in half. I mean, dude, I hated it, man. I hated it.
How many people did you see that happen to?
No, I know. I've never seen that happen, but it happens.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It does happen.
Yeah.
You don't see that. The tail rotor is what
Yeah.
gets you.
Yeah.
The tail rotor stabilizes it because think about it. The main rotor, the helicopter would just be spinning. The whole thing would just be going with the rotor,
Yeah.
right? That's physics. That's why you have a tail rotor to kind of stabilize it to stay still. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you can't see that damn tail rotor half the time. Anyway. Sorry.
Helicopters are scary machines.
They are.
Hells yeah.
I know my cousin flies one too, but I don't know what kind. He's also in the Navy.
I always forget what kind my dad flew.
He flew Hueys.
Yes, that's right. He did.
If
fly
he was
Hueys.
in Nam, he flew Hueys.
Yeah.
Hueys, which the ones that I worked on were the new Hueys. They were called Kiowas, OH-58s.
Ah.
And then I also worked on Apaches, which were the ones you see on like the video games.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
shooting the missiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he flew A-stars at one point too.
All right, go ahead and read this one.
There were a couple of heads and an arm or a leg. I don't know which.
All right, so
Arf.
let's see how dangerous these things are.
Oh boy.
This is a fun little video.
I don't know.
Go to talkmore.com to see this. This is why gotta be careful.
From alldumb.com.
I don't know if I wanna
feel
watch
like
this.
that shouldn't be on this website if someone's dying.
Yeah, I don't know if I
How
want
do
to
you
watch
know
this.
someone's dying?
I'm just assuming.
No one's gonna die. Check it out.
Oh no! No!
Oh,
No! No!
God.
No! No! No!
Oh, God.
No! 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 No!
Wow, what a fantastic day! Oh,
Oh my god!
Wait, what hit him?
The blade's on top. He
Oh,
lifted
he
his
lift-
arms and his hands got cut off. Let's watch that again.
No! Let's not. Let's not.
That looks like Mark Cuban.
It did look like
Oh,
Mark
yeah.
Cuban. This is why you gotta be fucking careful. And a lot of people don't understand this. They'll just get out and be like, "Yeah, look at me," and they'll lift their
Oh,
arms
no.
up.
Oh my god, and now I'm thinking of your ceiling fan again.
Yes.
Let's watch that one
Yeah,
more time.
No, I'm not watching it
You
again. I'm not
need to
listening
put something
it again.
on your wish list.
Okay.
One new ceiling fan.
Okay, I won't play that again.
I feel like as soon as I put my headphones on, you're going to play it again. So
I will
I'm
not
just.
play it again. Oh, I'm playing it again. Oh, God. Oh, God. Jen, you better look at it.
Nope,
Jen,
nope.
look at it. I'm
No,
serious,
I'm not
Jen.
It's like
looking at
Mark
it.
Cuban.
I'm serious,
I'm
Jen.
going to. Once was enough.
Oh,
Okay, I'm never going in a helicopter. I'm just gonna say it.
I feel like I'm too tall for helicopters now. Like, I don't want
Yeah,
to go.
after this, like I just feel
I
like
still think
ducking
it's
the whole
bad.
time.
this is a PSA. Don't ride in helicopters. All right, so back to the story. There's
How do you
this,
like the lemonade?
It's good.
Delish.
There's this guy named Vic Morrow, and I don't know what he's been in. So
Did he die by helicopter as well?
yeah, but you can't really see this one. This isn't going to be as gory as
Is this
the
a
last
video? I don't want to watch.
It is a
people
video,
die
but you
by
can't really see it.
helicopter.
But I think it's. I think I thought about this when I did this story, and there's also I think the Twilight Zone movie. I think they got killed by a helicopter too.
The
I'm not
Twilight
sure.
Zone movie.
Yeah, there was a movie, and like 3 people died making it,
I
which
don't
makes
remember
it even
that.
more.
When did that happen?
It was like in the 80s. This is the his killing. It's not really violent. You won't be able to see it. I just wanted to show you.
This is on video.
Yeah, this is the they're shooting a movie, which I cannot remember what it's called, but this is how the movie ended apparently.
Like, did they still put out the movie?
No, I don't think so.
It was a horror film, I'm assuming.
And you can't really see anything, but see the helicopter coming down?
Uh
And there he's dead.
oh. The copter crashed on him?
Yeah, so they're going to do it in slow motion. You can kind of see. You actually see his head flying at the camera.
No, I'm good.
I mean, you can't.
You can't see anything. Yeah, now I have no desire to be in a helicopter, so thanks for that.
Yeah, so helicopters are really dangerous. And in that clip that you just watched, I mean, look at it. You had explosions going off. It's pitch black. A helicopter pilot. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's not as easy as it seems to keep that thing level.
Right.
Oh, I bet.
You know,
Well,
and
even
if you
when-
get confused up and down, you're done.
Well, even like there's a lot of differences between helicopters and airplanes. Like when you take flight, this is something I'll remember my dad says amongst all of his other Army stories. But like when you're flying a helicopter, when you're flying an airplane, like you go up and you accelerate upward.
Right.
But the helicopter goes up and then the nose points down.
Yeah.
And then it goes up.
That's how you get your movement.
Yeah.
If you point down. Because
then
if you think about it,
the
yeah,
rear rotor
Right.
and
Yeah.
then the blades, so you point down. I don't know. It's just very interesting.
No, it makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have to read this, but this is the 8th victim. So it killed someone a month later, died in the hospital. So, all right, we got to move on with
13.
this. So what actually happened? Now, this is the owner of the helicopter here was actually the owner of the helicopter company was actually the pilot, if you want to read this.
The owner of a helicopter that crashed Labor Day into a crowded church parking lot in Derry, killing 8 persons and injuring another 18, canceled an engine replacement purchase order just days before the tragedy.
Ooh.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, so here's what I know about when I was a crew chief. You keep a maintenance log, very detailed maintenance log, about everything you do. It's not like me changing your oil and being like, oh, when did I change it last time? You know exactly when you
Speaking
change
of
it.
which, Jen may need a brake change.
Yeah, I can change your brakes.
Okay.
Nelson Aviation was the company. They actually canceled the engine purchase that they needed to buy. It needed to be overhauled at 1,000 hours flight time. So I remember when I was a crew chief, when you hit a certain number, all flying stops. You take the helicopter and you completely break it down depending on what maintenance schedule is required, and you do everything step by step from the maintenance book. So if you have an engine overhaul, 1,000 hours, because it's not like a car. If you break down a car, you just pull over the side of the road. If you break down a helicopter, you're going down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's different. So anyway, if you have an engine overhaul, you have to take the engine out. You have to look at the transmission. You change the oil, you change everything, and make sure everything is top notch. Well, they did not do that, and that's a big thing that you need to do because it gets you in a lot of trouble. They did perform a 50-hour listed at 1,447.9 hours, but they didn't do the complete engine overhaul, which is, like I said, taking it out, looking at every thread, every little nut and bolt. Every nut and bolt has to be inspected to make sure there's no wear and tear on it. And if there is, you got to replace it. They didn't do that.
Good protocol, though.
They did some minor repairs. Well, maybe that's just more about the military because the military is very strict.
as it should.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely, with cars, am not necessarily the best about keeping up with my maintenance.
I'm not at all.
Like, I've had a check engine light on for 2 years.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's fine.
Yeah, you'd be
It's
good
just
for
a
another
filter.
year.
It's just a filter.
All right, they did find, quote, excessive wear on the throttle linkage and the throttle bolt, which I'm not going to try to explain to you. Women.
Mortals.
Women. Quote, if there was enough wear, it could cause erratic operation of the engine. So the pilot's claiming that the engine went out, and that's why she went down. Now,
But she can't blame it. Like, why would she blame the engine going out if she was negligent about the engine?
no, well,
Right, because she's saying
No,
she
no,
didn't
no.
replace it. She
No,
chose not to replace
this
it.
was after the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, did, because every time this stuff happens, especially 8 people die,
Right.
they're going to do a thorough investigation.
Right.
So this is when it came out that she should have replaced the engine. But at first, she's like, the engine went out completely.
Okay.
So she's up in the air, the engine goes out, and she's going down.
Right. But like I said, why would she say that knowing that she canceled an engine purchase order and was negligent? Was she thinking that she just wouldn't get caught? She was like, "Oh, the engine went out. Like that's
Yeah,
definitely
probably.
not my fault."
Not my
but
fault,
Like,
yeah.
but like it was
She
your fault.
knew that the engine needed some
Right.
replacement.
So that's negligence.
Good point.
Yeah, no, and that's what she got ultimately charged for.
Oh.
But
Nailed it, Jen.
it's a Hughes, like I think it was like Howard Hughes.
Yeah, Hughes.
269C. There was an information letter that came out in 1975 that said, this was a couple years before, quote, a pilot may experience a drop-off in RPM due to looseness or excessive wear in the throttle control system and will make it difficult to maintain constant RPM. So this kind of corroborated her story. But yeah, she didn't change it like she was supposed to.
Right, but also with that notice being sent out a couple years prior, don't you think that she would want to upgrade her equipment?
Yeah, but it's her company, you know that, right?
So
Nelson Aviation.
she thought she could get another trip or two out of.
Yeah, because
without
it's
replacing it.
expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, these airplane parts are not cheap.
But wouldn't that be kind of like a recall? Like the car recall?
I would think it's almost like replacing your like you need to replace it after a certain point in time.
Okay, so something that you would
and
be
you're going to
responsible
stretch
for.
it. You
Got
can
it.
stretch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you stretch it and then fly over 500 God-fearing people and children. Ugh. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if it wasn't something where she was flying that low, she may have been okay.
Well, so
I mean, like, she probably would not have been okay. It probably would have been worse because she probably would have died because if the engine ceased
here's the thing about the
higher,
engines.
she would have died.
The engine ceasing. So they did the full investigation, and this is what they found. If you want to read this, this is from the Kane Republic in Pennsylvania.
Engine malfunction ruled out as engine malfunction ruled out as cause of helicopter crash.
Interesting. Tests on a helicopter that killed 8 persons when it fell into a Labor Day church festival showed no engine malfunctions, according to federal investigators.
Which I don't know how they tested that. I mean, the engine, can it be reliable? It's completely mangled.
I don't know.
Is it though? Because the helicopter looked like it was intact.
That's true.
Yeah,
Like
that's a
the
good point.
pod itself, yeah.
So
That's a good point.
what do you think she got for it? Because obviously,
manslaughter charges.
you know what this was? Let me tell
Negligence.
you. Let me tell you what this was. If the engine didn't go out, she actually so they found out that she didn't really have enough pilot hours.
Ooh.
So there's 3 people in there, which brings us back to the first of the episode, which
It's tiny.
is tiny. I mean, that
Are you
that
even supposed to
helicopter-
have 3 people in there?
Exactly. So when you go a little bit lower and then you find yourself struggling to lift it up because there's 3 people in there. I don't think she went straight down. Obviously, she tilted it. I think she tilted it. I don't think the engine went out at all. I think she accidentally tilted it, which caused the blades to go slice and dice, and that's what happened. And she was so low anyway. I believe that's what happened. And here's why I believe that. Because as you saw in the video earlier with the ping pong balls being thrown out in that 2014 video, I don't know if you noticed it, but when she was throwing them out, or whoever was throwing them out, the helicopter, which is so tiny, it's like a squirrel, it tilts that way. If you're putting your weight throwing something out of the helicopter's trying to tilt that way because that's where your motion's going. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that happened as she was throwing out these ping pong balls. Then she tried to correct it. And kind of like when you're in your car and you swerve, but then try to correct it, and it just makes it worse. I believe that's what happened. She corrected it, and it completely tilted and went straight down. Ooh. And I think that's what they found too, because if the engine didn't malfunction, so she actually, what do you think happened to her?
Jail time.
I feel like it would have been very minimal, though.
Yeah, and these
like
things
2
are
years, maybe.
No, it's pretty much always like this because at the end of the day, it's an accident.
Lose her pilot's license?
She did lose her pilot's license. At the end of the day, it's an accident.
But wouldn't she be charged with manslaughter though? Even because her actions were responsible for taking someone's life, even though there was no intent.
Yeah. So this is a helicopter pilot not criminally responsible in crash. Jury says so. A jury of 7 found her negligence. Obviously, so she was guilty of that, but she wasn't spend jail time or anything else. She was just not criminally responsible, but she was.
I have a problem with that, actually.
I know, I do too, but
because it wasn't like she, like she didn't have the right amount of pilots flying hours.
Yeah, I have a big problem with that.
That's a big problem. Number 1. Number 2, you knew that you needed to perform maintenance on that machine before flying in it yourself, and then you put 2 other people in it who, number 1, they didn't die. Fortunately, they were not involved in the crash. They were involved in the crash. Obviously, they were in the crash, but they didn't die. But you're taking two people who trust you to have
his wife died.
His wife died, and the girl's mother. But you're trusting this person to have a fully functional helicopter and to be an experienced pilot, and those 2 things together, that's not okay. Even if it'd be one thing if she had the pilot's hours, and this happened, or it'd be one thing if if the machine was, fully up to par, and that would be not criminally responsible. But I feel like
both of them
exactly to not have those things, both of them. And I know there's really nothing we can do about it now. This happened like 40 so years ago.
Listen, dude, if this was you as a pilot, that guilt would eat you alive.
Oh, absolutely.
So did she serve any jail time?
No, she didn't. But jail time's not going to. I think it's a thing.
Fine?
People understand that things are an accident, but I wouldn't vote her to go to prison because I know that her life is over. Every day for the rest of her life until she's on her deathbed, she will think about this every day.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, I misspoke earlier. The youngest was 13. Her name was Tammy Barczewski. I want to read some of the comments that Erin had. So she submitted a link with this story, and I want to read some of the comments. If you want to just go through these and kind of read, here and there about the people that remember this, Nicole.
There was actually 2 helicopters owned and bought by the same person, and both crashed in a very short period. I was all but 18, but it stayed with me over the years.
Oh, yeah. I actually forgot to mention that same helicopter actually had an engine malfunction about 2 months before this, and they didn't record it. But anyway, go ahead.
Ooh, yeah, that's one for Jen's cause right there.
Yeah.
That's just semantics.
I was 7 when this happened. I wasn't there that day, but my friends went and asked me to go. I remember being upset that I couldn't go. At that age, it was a helicopter dropping prizes that made us want to be there. I was there. I was 9, fixing to turn 10. To this day, that day still haunts me. I'm terrified of helicopters. I remember seeing things no child should ever see.
And who is that from?
Shell. I had the honor of taking care of Irene when I worked at Bethlehem Home. That was the first time I ever heard about this incident. I was there that day. I was 9. I want to talk about it, though nobody else wants to. I have 2 tours in Iraq, but this thing haunts me the most.
Whoa, who's this? I didn't read this one.
Michael Petroniak.
Michael Petroniak. You probably won't hear this, man, but hit me up, because I definitely...
He wrote more. He goes,
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
all. I was 9 at the time and had to sift through the carnage in a vain effort to find my sister.
Ugh.
I found my younger sister unharmed, but not my older sister. She was injured and taken care of, but I never found her. I was escorted away before that. It's hard to talk about. It's almost impossible to imagine, but still so real. I served over 20 years active service with 2 tours in Iraq. This is the thing that haunts me the most. I returned to Derry to the parking lot. I expected a memorial, but saw nothing. I remember they repaired the chain link fence with some wire, but there's nothing to commemorate that day. I do recall that the church across the tracks did install some chimes to honor Parr Smith. I do remember hearing them in the evenings and recall visiting our house, possibly for a sleepover with my sister. I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm willing to meet and talk with survivors. I don't want to conjure up bad memories. I was only 9 at the time. I'm still trying to understand. I have no anger or pain, just a hole, a dark hole with vivid visions of sorrow. There are so many
Jesus.
unanswered questions.
What was his
Wow.
name? Is it Michael?
Yeah.
Number one, thanks for your service. And, I want to say real quick, the week that it happened, I saw a lot of newspapers that said, this is one that we'll never forget. We'll always have a memorial. And obviously he's saying he's back in the parking lot the same day it happened, 30 years later, 40 years later. And there's no memorial. In fact, the church website, I looked at the history, and you don't see anything about it on the church website. Not that that they're bad people or anything, but you definitely need to. I mean, this is terrible.
This is something for more Team Jen on this one. So the pilot. Did you know that she stood outside the courtroom laughing while talking to her attorney, as well as jesting with others while my family stood by weeping? There was a few years after the tragedy. I never blamed her per se. However, she and her husband neglected to correct a problem that they had known about for quite some time. You may know her, but however, you don't know the details. I am sure she would never do something like that to hurt others. Really, I'm sure. However, the faulty party... The had been found faulty before, had never fixed properly, brought the situation on. She is left with no void in her heart. Did you ever realize that nice, caring mother you report to be her? She never reached out to us with any compassion, sympathy, or apologies for our loss. Ask her about that when you see her next time.
Would you no, I'm not trying to be difficult, but if you were the the pilot, would you reach out to the families? Just asking.
Probably.
Would you, Jen? It'd be hard because
I would. I think I would.
Yeah, I
mean, what would you say?
I'm so I'm so sorry.
I probably would write a letter.
Yeah.
I would handwrite a letter to each of them. I don't know. I think it would be difficult to talk to them on the phone.
Yeah.
But I would try to show my support in some way. Yeah.
I'll just read this one more. Irene Horrell was my great-grandmother. My father and uncle had been at the festival with her that day, and I remember her telling me about them lifting the tail end of the helicopter to help her free herself and others that were trapped under it. She was very lucky to survive.
Jesus. Well, here's one that says, I know the helicopter pilot, and please believe me when I tell you she would have done everything in her power to avoid the crash. She's a mother.
But she didn't.
What do you mean? At the time,
she avoided repairs on the helicopter.
Yeah, but she didn't. Obviously, she would have repaired the helicopter knowing that this would have happened.
But you don't, and that's the thing. That's why you got to take care of your
hindsight is
shit.
2020.
Also, she wasn't. She didn't have enough flight hours. Like, that's negligent.
Well, so her and her husband own the. Yeah, it is, Jenna. It is, but I mean, it's also a tragic situation.
It is. I'm not trying to take away from the tragedy at all. It's terrible.
Burn her, Jen says.
Huh?
Burn her.
Burn her. No. No, I mean, I think that she needs to have something, like, she was not held criminally responsible, but you know, at the end of the day, she may not have had the intent to do that, but that's why there is something called manslaughter that is in our law book that she should have been charged. I'm sorry, she should have been charged.
No, I understand that. This is from a victim. She wrote on 2013, when this occurred, Derry, which is Derry, Pennsylvania, was a very nice place, very nice little town, and people knew one another, whatever. This tragedy was unthinkable, and let's see. There are no plaques or memorials placed at the site, and the people of the town are against it. So that Monday, I was sick to my stomach
Labor Day,
and did not want to go, yet I told myself it was nerves from wanting to catch ping pong balls and get the one. The chopper passed over me when I was standing, and I remember how long it was there and the noise it made when it snapped up a piece of paper near me. 2 passes later, it went down. I was one of the few people who were not frozen in shock days later. When I went to the funeral home, the first thing I saw was a white casket with bronze handles, and it was closed. All my thoughts came to pass. What do you want to know? Perhaps I can get some closure myself by helping you. The town another one from Anonymous. The town has never fully recovered. After 35 years, the pain, the emptiness, and emotion is alive as ever. The comment above about my town having PTSD and the whole thing being blocked out is so true. I heard a couple of short mentions during my many years in Derry and knew that something had happened, but somehow I never asked any details. That church started having the same festival again 15 years later.
Hopefully with no helicopter.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I can only weep. I knew it had to been a tragic event, but I never knew there were severed bodies in the parking lot. In the cafeteria. So the cafeteria was the makeshift morgue. Mm-hmm. I forgot to mention that. Mm-hmm. And half the people in the small town witnessed up close details.
Wait, so they put the bodies that day in the cafeteria?
Yeah, they had to get them. All right, if there was 7 people decapitated. I mean, so if the 7 that have died did not die from a crash. They died because their body parts were completely removed from their body.
Yeah.
So these guys had to pick up their body parts. Oh, here's the torso. Does it match these legs? And put them somewhere because there's, kids everywhere.
I have a problem with that.
I mean, what else are you going to do? The coronavirus is the same way. I mean, not to bring up that, but they use makeshift storage lockers and stuff like that.
You can put you can use a makeshift tent or something that is not in a school cafeteria where children have to eat lunch in weeks following. Like, that's, I don't know. I guess I just have a problem with that.
It was just the first thing they I mean, once you're in a situation like that, Jen, like,
yeah, I understand that, I guess.
Okay, we got to do these somewhere. What's this room right here? Put them in here.
Probably asking for a lot there, but,
No one's not like, oh my God, you can't do that as cafeteria. It's like, just get these bodies out of here. This severed torso, get it out of here.
Yeah.
My 2-year-old kid is seeing this.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's true. I understand. I guess I was asking for a lot.
No, you're fine.
I think it's because I when you said that, I literally pictured my school, if this happened in my school church parking lot, having to bring these bodies,
All right, so Aaron, that story was for you, and you actually requested that a week ago. So if you guys want to request stories, we're not doing Talkers Primos anymore as of yet. We had a tad bit of drama going on about 2 months ago, so we paused that program for now, but if you would like to request a story, especially like the one you requested, Aaron, the ones that, you knew that I like this, not like this, but that this interests me, please go to talkmurder.com, comment on any blog post there, just say whatever, hey, yada, yada, yada. I will see it. I approve every comment manually. And so I will see it there. But anyway, that's the story. You guys got any questions or any comments? Are you guys going to be in any helicopters anytime soon?
No. So she walked free. The pilot walked free.
Yeah, she walked free, yeah.
She lost her pilot's license.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And probably, most likely obviously she shut down her aviation branch.
Good.
She, think about it. Try to put yourself in her shoes, which I know it sounds bad, but if that was me, man, I don't know. I'd probably kill myself. I don't know if I could handle that.
It's rough.
But anyway, that's my story, and thank you again, Aaron, so much. Thank you, YouTube.
Forgot you were there.
Love you guys. For our fans out there, Talkos, I love you guys. And my name is John. I'm here with Jen and Nicole. And until next time, good night, you lovely, 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 lovely people.